And now, a flowchart with
Flow! Okay, welcome back to another episode of Floechart. This will be lesson 2, and it's all about turns. And you're probably confused. You're like, turns? This isn't an RPG. There's no turns in fighting games. What are you talking about? Basically, turns are when it's alright for you to press a button, and when you should be pressing buttons. And this applies to both offense and defense. Basically, it'll come down to, do you want to give up your turn early and give the other person a turn in favor of a frame trap because you think they'll press a button? Or do you want to be greedy with your turn and keep going with it and, maybe think that, okay, this is a patient player, I'm going to get another turn. And now I heard a lot of complaints the last video about, hey, there's no examples. Where are the examples? Well, guess what? We stepped up the production value. We got examples. Let's do this. Okay, so this is the basic idea of turns, okay? I recorded this little thing. It's super basic, but it will hopefully explain to you what I mean by turns, okay? So, the first example is, okay, I pressed the button. It wasn't my turn. But now Ryu wants to keep going because maybe he thinks I'm the type of player who is going to wait longer for my turn. And he will take that opportunity to keep going in. But you see, the problem with this is you get greedy, okay? So yeah, right there, now his turn's over. But now, I can just mash out of this. I can do whatever I want. And yeah, you're thinking that this is just a frame trap. But in the sense, it's more so talking about when you want to do the frame traps that you've learned and everything, and how tight you actually want to make them. Because you don't want to just give up your turn, because after that fireball, we're back to neutral. Back to playing footsies, back to whatever, And this exists in all fighting games. And when to actually give up your turn and say, okay, it's time to play some more neutral, is a very important thing. And we're going to talk about that on offense and defense. So, on offense, frame traps basically exist because of turns, as we just talked about. You can have a tight frame trap where you literally just do things by the numbers, and they'll try and tech a throw, they'll try and press a button, whatever it is, and they'll get counter hit, and you'll get some damage. And, that's a simple thing to learn. You just read the numbers, and you find that little gap of where they can mash, do the numbers, do 4 minus 3, you got a little gap where they can mash, there, you got a frame trap. But knowing the player and when they actually want to press that button so you can actually get the damage rather than just ending your turn prematurely is very important also. And it really changes depending on games. There's certain characters like, say, Tanya, who in Mortal Kombat X, who will just take her turn, and her turn will not allow you to have a turn for a long time. Yet when her turn's over, you get to do whatever you want, But you have to wait for that. There's other characters like Yang, which, will also not give you a turn for a while. But this also you know, it goes to matchup wise also. Like, matchups really make things matter also. And this is what determines some matchups. If you get more turns, you have more opportunities to get damage, to get your stuff started, and that could make the matchup, make or break it, you know? Then you also have defensive turns. So you can kind of, depending on the game, you can force a turn, you know? People always talk about mashing wake up DP. Wake up DP is not the issue. Mashing a DP on block is much more the issue because you're sick of not having a turn. You just mash that DP. Now there's other options in many games. You got alpha counters in the Street Fighter 5. You got backdashes in a Guilty Gear in Street Fighter 4 even. There's lots of ways to force your turn when you're sick of not having a turn, because who has the patience to just sit there? But that is actually the key, is knowing when to take your turn. Having that level of patience is a very important thing to have. But it's also important to know when to mash, you know? And again, it depends on the type of game. Say across Tekken, mashing is encouraged because the mashing risk to reward is very much in your favor. If you mash out a jab, you just got a full combo because it's cross Tekken. You mashed out a jab and that's a lot of damage, you know? But again, risk to reward, we'll talk about that in another video. I think that's the next video or 2 videos from now. I don't know. It's one of the videos, trust me. We got this whole plan. But let's talk about defensive turns. So, like I said, alpha counters, backdashes, just mash a DP. When you're sick of not having a turn and you think that the person is being too greedy with their turn, that they're taking too long a turn, you want to play the game. You put in your quarter. You didn't put in a quarter, let's be real. This is 2016. You challenged them online. You went over to their house. You know, you didn't put in a quarter. Because we don't even use quarters anymore. But, you know, it really comes down to turns really make matchups. As you saw in the example before with the Yang versus Dudley, that would not work on every character, but Dudley doesn't have the tools to deal with Yang bullying him. And a lot of bullying, when people say, oh, that guy got bullied, it really comes down to the character gets to take more turns than the other character. And this is what makes matchups, in a sense. Obviously, there's other things that we will talk about, but for right now, this is about turns. So, now that we explained little turns, yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. It's a shorter episode. You guys didn't like the length of the first one. You wanted the editing. You wanted all this stuff. I tried to give it to you. I tried to give it all to you. But we're going to try and make this a little bit more condensed and stuff. And we got a lot more episodes coming. We got some episodes on Risk to Reward. We got some episodes on footsies. We got some episodes on learning a new character. We got it all. It's all coming. Floechart lessons are all coming. But I hope you all enjoyed that episode. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I will try and answer. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And I still love you. And I will see you guys on the next Floechart episode.
And that was a flowchart with
Flow!